Potato Cat and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing with the letter. Previously we had a tip with our drunky husband, and then of course, like we do, we talked to our interior designer about it, and she told us the truth because we told her we needed honesty. And she told us, well, do what makes you happy. Stop focusing on the other person. And it's pretty much where we left off. Alright, let's continue. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spots, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moments when our blissful union turned sour. When did you start to seek other women, lacking any ulterior motives? When did we start to cooperate only to suit our materialistic greed and attention-seeking ways? Money and success, fame and glamour, are those the only reasons we still stay together? There is a cough before Mary Ann clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I moved to apologize when she stands up. I need to turn my fan on for my computer. We both end up on our feet, unsure on how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party?
Why would she?
Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies.
Yep, she has a cat to feed.
Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you.
Friends, if you want to call them that.
You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive.
Yeah, that usually happens.
Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
I can't stand people like that. See, I tend to show up early, but I like to help people set up the party. So, usually I can't bring anything with me, so I'm like, at least I can help set up the party. I'll help you set chairs or whatnot. But I don't go like, oh, why isn't everything set up like a full 2 hours before it's supposed to be? No. Ooh, journal updated. October 28th. Hannah and Mary Ann were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. On a whim, Hannah asked for Mary Ann's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about, after the latter excused herself from attending the party. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency, which provides staff for the right enterprise and hospitality in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and silverware, good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into their wine cellar. To pursue the stocks. To peruse the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
Ew. Escargot, not my thing. A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floor decor, with thousands filled vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. Ooh, fancy. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake. Just a 5-tier white chiffon, one with white chocolate, mousse, fresh berries, and light dusting of edible gold leaf. Oh, is that all? Just a simple 5-tier cake. But despite the fact that I've told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering, with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
Aww. The entire thing screamed Luke right. And I can't help but add another question in my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always been about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, her own decisions. Sure, I was already a social butterfly, and I still am today, but it wasn't all empty and shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money, and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison, and public relations, supervision, and staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Feeling that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who'd give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. Genuine? He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything, from big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we have for breakfast, or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who are docile and subordinate, A woman who will always be there for him, yet will never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls to my attention. Don't you hate when that happens? You're just in this pit of like existential crisis and self-loathing, and someone just has to snap you out of it, and you have to go back to reality and get yourself together.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
I'm guessing nowhere to be seen.
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up in the driveway, peppering in front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car or two, convertibles, grand salons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it would be too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media events as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxembourg so far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange sunshine we're experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society, such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorance of the looks he receives from women and men alike. Wow! What a way to put it! Look at him standing there, looking all Asian. What?
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Oh, and they label him even worse. Oh, that rose hair? Does she not know? I mean, I guess there are roses that color, but I would just call it pink. Oh, that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she is here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I had invited Father Norman too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request, aside from a small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. Oh, fantastic. And then there are people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna.
We had to invite you.
Husband still missing, I see.
Of course he is.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee.
Are they sleeping with each other?
The doctors again.
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
Also, just saying he's around isn't very convincing. Don't be so high and mighty, Mr. Officer Lee.
Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal. You've hidden his body.
Maybe.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too.
Is it alcohol?
It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches.
Huh. Nifty.
Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead.
That didn't sound convincing.
The man doesn't serve Dodgy Plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough.
Dodgy Plonk? I don't understand that one.
I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Michelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out.
What did you do?
Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
What does that mean? Have I mentioned how I don't trust him no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Yes, go away, so we don't have to talk to you anymore. Greetings, such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Although we have short conversations, I merely shake hands and nod heads, and make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes us by, the restless stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Oh wow, yeah, there we go. Look at all the people. It's quite a bustling party. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. Make sure your guests are well fed, have a good company, have them generally enjoy themselves. So, when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I'm pulled aside. For a while, I stay with the small. I'm losing my British accent. It is not staying with me as long this time. I heard a gasp. What was the happening there? Wow, that is really flat. For a while, I stay with a small group to entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more than to make music. One of our hotel managers worries about stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a feeling insecurity which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Then there is that rose-haired woman once again. It's hard not to notice her with her distinct locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach intrigued, although it's no great mystery what occupies her own attention with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the, I'm gonna not say that again. I said that word once. With the hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up.
Right, so how did she get an invitation? I wonder.
Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it's a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend, then? Because that would explain those rejections.
Oh, we have irritated her. In all my life, I've never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
You probably have them.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact.
This does not look like we're having a pleasant conversation in this picture.
Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
The answer is yes to both, probably.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I was never as... I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I am used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Oh... She makes an appearance. It is chilling, and though I'm used to... I said that... My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty. She looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stares make run my blood cold. I don't know where I was going with that. Her stares make my blood run cold. She looks at me like I'm nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink of, she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but... Are you alright?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
Reunion. The name is familiar, like a fond's memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor, who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stories, which I honestly had been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless. Because she brought them for me.
Oh, Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses!
Oh,
And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again?
was it Ash?
Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one.
Oh, she's been crushing on him since she was a kid. Oof.
Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
Oh, don't say that in this game.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales.
You're not wrong, but yeah.
And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best.
I don't think really anybody thinks that anymore.
If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
It doesn't seem like you're really fighting for it. It really does look like you're just kind of staring at him and hoping he'll notice you one day.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
That is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel?
I most definitely bet she has not.
And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually.
It's still bad.
But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Wait, so he can be dense, but you're hoping that he'll notice on his own? How does that work?
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentioned... I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress? With the pink blouse with the petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all the years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Well, we'll see where this goes. I'm foreseeing like a little quick time event like we had with Isabella coming up soon at this party or something like that. But we'll see. Anyways, I'm Potato Cat. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.